Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mary. I'm a host dog keeper here at the Houston Zoo. If any of you guys have any questions at all about our giraffes, ostriches, or a zebra, please don't hesitate to ask. I do work with these guys on a pretty regular basis, so I can try and answer all your questions. Now, this big guy behind me right now, his name is Joshua. Joshua is actually our only mature male giraffe. The only other male that we have in this yard is actually Bobby, which is Joshua's offspring, which is a little baby giraffe. So Bobby is about a month old now, and he weighs, let's see, when he was born, he weighed 130 pounds. And yesterday is 95 kilograms, so about 210, 215 pounds, somewhere like that for the baby's weight now that he is a month old. He did stand at 6 feet and 2 inches tall whenever he was born. He probably has gained about a foot in height since then. Normally within the first week or two, they'll actually grow up to an inch a day. So they grow very rapidly. And by the time he's a year old, he'll actually be standing at 10 feet tall. So Joshua here is about 4.5 years old now, and he's still growing. He probably won't be fully grown until he's like 16, 17 feet tall. And to give you an idea of how big he's gonna get, he's actually probably going to be able to stand in the barn doorway, tilt his head back, and lick the top. So that's kind of an idea of how big giraffes can get up to. And he, like I said, he's still growing, so he's not that impressive yet, but he is still probably one of our more impressive giraffes that we have. Our largest giraffe is named Asali, and to be honest, Asali is kind of unusually large for a female giraffe. Normally, female giraffes are looking at like 13 to 14 and a half feet tall, and Asali is like outgrown everyone by 15 and a half feet tall. So she's a big girl. Does anybody have any questions just yet? No? No questions? So you might see that Joshua has a really long tongue. Maybe we can get him to stretch it out. That tongue is about 18 inches long, and it's what we call a prehensile tongue. So you can see that he's able to use it kind of like a finger to just pull the food straight to his mouth and just shovel it in. These guys do consume a lot of, they do consume a lot of food. Our entire group goes through about 60 pounds of grain a day, and this grain is actually special designed for exotic herbivore animals. Kind of like how you feed special foods to your dogs and cats. We do the same for our animals here. So they go through about 60 pounds of grain a day for the whole group. And as far as hay-wise, these guys go through about 60 to 80 pounds of alfalfa hay a day for the whole group as well. The reason why there's that range there is because they normally eat a little bit more in the wintertime, and they kind of cut back on their food consumption in the summertime just because it's so hot, and in the wintertime it's so cold, so they need to burn more calories. But the tongue, you'll also see is sort of like a purple color, right? So that's actually one way for these guys to prevent sunburn. So if you think about it, the giraffes love to eat the leaves in the tall trees, right? Which means that their tongues are always exposed to those really harmful UV rays from the sun out in Africa. So that dark coloration kind of bounces those UV rays back off their tongue. Pretty much everything that you see on a giraffe is there for a reason. Except the ossicones. For the female giraffes, the ossicones don't really serve a purpose. And ossicones are the weird horn-like projections from their skulls. It's actually not a horn and it's not an antler. It's actually part of the skull that actually develops at about a week or 2 weeks of age. Whenever baby giraffes are born, those little ossicones are just little weird rubber cartilage-like knobs on their heads. And after about a week or so, they kind of fuse to a special joint in the skull, and from there the bone actually grows upwards. And for the males, it helps out a lot whenever they're older. The ossicones help out a lot for male-to-male combat. So if you see the male giraffes sparring with one another, they do this weird behavior called necking, which is where they stand hip to hip and then take their heads and swing them at one another. Normally they're aiming for the, I don't know if my mic's working. My bad, I'll just drill sergeant my voice now. So when giraffes are sparring with each other, they actually stand hip to hip, take their heads and swing at one another, and they're aiming for the chest, stomach, or sometimes in more severe cases, the legs.
So the ossicones actually just sort of apply more pressure in some of those spots, and it can actually lead to internal bleeding and broken bones and whatnot. For the female giraffes, though, those ossicones don't really serve much of a purpose. They're just kind of there. Does anyone have any questions just yet?
Do they grow hair on top of them, or do they rub them off by hitting each other?
So that's a really good question. So the females normally do have a lot of fur on tops of their ossicones, but the males normally, they build up so much calluses, it just turns bald. I will say though, Tyra, which is our oldest giraffe, she's 21 years old now. Her ossicones are bald, but that might just be because of age. So she is kind of up there. Giraffes normally have pretty short lifespans compared to elephants and whatnot. We're looking at like 16 to 18 years of age for male giraffes, and probably like 20 to 25 years of age for females. And the reason for that difference is because, like I said earlier, the male giraffes just get to be so much larger than the females. Male giraffes can grow up to be 3,000 pounds, whereas females like 1,500, 2,000 pounds. So that difference does a lot more wear and tear on their joints and